Then I leave that man.
Also, you know, see, by the like say 3 million jobs every year.
Which
you don't know say Nigeria will 3 million jobs every year.
Usibanjo will solve security. I got a TikTok.
Now, so
Say Buhari will solve security.
Usibanjo will give a religious
Constitutionally, who is running the economy?
The president.
No.
Now you president. No, he's the head of the economic district.
What
But the president of what? Now the president get finance.
You not running the show.
Now the president get
Running
finance. He's the head of economy. I agree. But if now if you are the top, yeah, Usibanjo na failure. Two of them are failure. Two of them are failure.
And now somebody want to reinforce that failure again. Usibanjo will do well. Do it well.
Build on legacy.
No. Bro, not be next level with it.
That guy, he threatened us.
Now next level
That he will
with
be
it.
no
When Usibanjo come, we will know the level one will be.
His media team did not do well from the content of that
He threatened us. Saying that the political must stop. That was a threat.
No, Lee, would have not said go step into the shoot. Say go step on Buhari's toe. Say go step into the shoot.
Now nothing concern them with all this
political rhetoric. It's not really vast in that aspect.
Buhari, I just say
somebody that should even have it because it's from Lagos.
even the Abilu say you build on legacy. The Abilu no.
No, I don't know how many times. Who owns the media? He does
Not
not.
that he owns the media, I believe. That's a great difference.
Bro,
Yes, influence.
you know who owns the media? Give it to him.
Someone try you.
Give it to him. He owns the media.
No, when we say own the media, we not be absolute.
We
That's
know
why
what-
has great influence in the media.
Bro,
You know,
if
this is
somebody
how-
get more
sorry,
than-
this is how they told us 11. This is past 11. This is 11:13. What is keeping us?
We don't know.
And we are fine with just
People
talking.
close to
Yeah,
You're close to him now.
Go and talk to Mr.
No say the rain. You don't wake up.
No, we don't.
The man has the right.
Is it just one story? This story you use for tomorrow. And we're saying the rain fell everywhere.
Are we the publisher of our
So
platform?
we say now we go do not no you go.
No, I can understand. You just come.
I came okay 9 o'clock.
Yeah, just
Now
come.
you came late.
Yes, I can understand.
Inside rain.
You just come.
You try you. I tell you yourself that time. That time the rain
It's
every.
gone. So you just collect quack.
That is you.
That's some information that you get
I've been in my office
whatever.
Yeah, leader is not the corporate. She's an away, so people can, since she's calling it, she was going to go to her. So, in her absence, let me just welcome you to the group. Thank you for, all of you came very early. It's from the rain.
Yes,
And I have to wait for
despite the rain. Or in
I think you're ready. Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
Before we do it, I want to express my sincere apologies for our not starting promptly. Some of you came from far away, and because of the rain, some were delayed. So I thank you for finding time to be here. This is a press brief on declaration of interest to run for the APC presidential primary coming up 30th of May. Gentlemen of the press, I welcome you to this briefing. The idea of the brief is to further expatiate on my intention to contest for the APC 2023 presidential primary. A few days ago in Enugu, I expressed the intention to join the contest for the primary. Now I give firm declaration that I will purchase the nomination forms in a couple of days. Many of you may want to seek my views concerning the high cost of expression of interest and nomination fees of our major political parties. My view is that we should work towards reducing the cost of nomination for political offices so that we can create an inclusive environment for our dynamic youths and women who may not have access to much wealth but have great intellect and public spirit to enter into public service through political recruitment. I hold the view that high costs of electioneering process are not aligned to our socio-economic realities in terms of comparative per capita income and purchasing power of Nigerians. But ultimately, the pressure for drastic reduction in nomination fees for public offices will come when citizens and citizens groups begin to play a more active role in demanding and presenting credible and capable persons for elective offices, rather than allow money bags force themselves into such offices. I believe that the nomination fees that parties ask aspirants to pay for elective offices in Nigeria need rethinking in order to improve the inclusion of youths, women, and most Nigerians who earn salaries in an economy that has become distressed, largely on account of global economic meltdown and domestic insecurity and low productivity. Maybe it is time the Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, lays down guidelines to the parties on both the costs of nominations and campaign expenses. I'll back such regulatory control that will improve fiscal responsibility and inclusive politics in Nigeria. In spite of the high nomination costs, I'm delighted that many persons have declared their intention to contest for office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in my party, the All Progressive Congress, APC. I consider this a good development, as it shows that our democracy is growing to the point of significant inclusivity and democratic freedom. The bedrock of democracy is that right of citizens to aspire to political offices and offer themselves to other citizens to evaluate and elect them to make decisions for the rest of the society. The responsibility to choose the best amongst the qualified for the office rests on the citizens. In the case of party primary, that responsibility rests on the party delegates, chosen according to law for that purpose. In the days to come, I'll be consulting and communicating with our party delegates who have the responsibility to choose the best to fly our flag in the competitive presidential election in 2023. Looking at the array of aspirants to replace President Buhari in 2023 under the platform of the APC, I believe that I am well suited for the job of President of the Republic at this period in the history of Nigeria. We will all agree that President Buhari met enormous challenges when he assumed office. In spite of the challenges we face, we have to acknowledge Mr. President's patriotism that manifests in the unshaken belief that Nigeria will move past the current problems and setbacks. With rigor and commitment, he has been dealing with the crisis of stability and development since 2015, when he became president in a historic mandate that inaugurated the first democratic transition from one party to another. As members of the ruling party, we have to step forward to tackle these difficult challenges and continue in the spirit of courage and patriotism. I believe that every period in history of a country requires a particular kind of leader. Nigeria faces very tough challenges now more than ever before. It is a time like this that we need a man of tested integrity and competence to mobilize Nigerians to overcome these tough challenges. My pedigree as President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Constitutional and Electoral Reform shows beyond doubt that I am that man. Different period requires different kind of leadership. In 2015, we needed a Buhari to take Nigeria away from the misdirection of the People's Democratic Party. In 2023, we need a leader who knows how to walk across the divides and lead a coalition for competent and dedicated Nigerians to lay foundations for social stability and prosperity. We need tested and trusted leaders who reignite hope in the hearts of young Nigerians and unlock competencies that we are losing to other nations. In 2023, we will need a Ken Nnamani to help unite Nigeria, deepen democracy, and rebuild the social and economic infrastructure of sustainable development based on production and fair distribution. This is a reason. This is a season of politics. The season of politics is often a season of empty promises and needless drama. Many persons will make claims that are unrelated to reality, but this is not time for frivolities. This is time for aspirants to present their ideas and visions for a better Nigeria. Such ideas and visions will be matched with the right pedigree. My pedigree and previous accomplishments in high office in Nigeria lend credence to the fact that I am good fit to the challenges of this moment in Nigerian history. I am aspiring to be president in 2023 because I believe that this period of grave crisis, Nigeria needs to be reinvented to be a modern democratic state that prioritizes the socio-economic well-being of its citizens, to be restructured from inefficient consumption to production, and to be led with integrity, compassion. Nigeria needs a leader who can build a coalition of diverse talents and identities and regain the trust of Nigerians in the Nigerian state. We must recover the state from the grip of despair and despondence and chart a future of hope and achievement for every Nigerian. It is in response to the imperative to provide courageous, competent, and committed leadership for Nigeria at this difficult moment that I declare my intention to contest 2023 presidential primary. If I become president in 2023, I will be coming to that job in a depressive and somber moment, like in 2005, when I was elected as president, Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Many of you will remember vividly how Nigerians lost faith in the credibility and the mission of the National Assembly. Many of you will equally remember that the National Assembly was swept into the maelstrom of corruption and inefficiency before I became the president of the Senate. But soon after becoming the Senate president, I worked with my other colleagues across the party lines to reinvent the National Assembly and reinvested in it with character, competence, and commitment to excellence. We recovered the institution of legislature from the perception of corruption and instituted procedures that defeated corruption and made National Assembly an exemplar of excellence. I believe we can do it again. I'm in the race to solve Nigerians' problems, just as I did as head of the National Assembly. In 2005, we met the problem of lack of credibility and effectiveness of the legislature. We fixed it and bequeathed to Nigerians a legislature that could protect democracy and promote stability. I believe that the role of a leader is to solve problems, not to offer excuses. I believe that the president in 2023 should be someone who will inspire Nigerians and lifting them to a higher level of performance. I did exactly that as president of the Senate. I offer to do it again as president of the country in 2023. I have the competencies, the experience, and the moral courage and integrity to become the president that will bring back hope and recreate foundations of democracy and economic development. My profile for the job of the president is not just degrees. It is not only my extensive experience in best global companies. It is majorly my performance in my last high office. When you have held public office in the past, your next job auditioning should be based on your performance scorecard, not merely on your CV. My scorecard in previous leadership positions speaks for itself. Nigeria needs a leader of courage, competence, integrity, and clarity of vision. Nigeria needs a man or woman who recognizes that the strength of any nation in today's world is human capital, and therefore is willing to give young people the platform to bring their innovation and passion to change the country. With about 30% of Nigerian young persons, we need value-based leadership that creates an environment of democratic freedom and fosters innovation. That is the leadership I promise to provide for Nigeria. I declare my intention to contest for the 2023 APC presidential primary from a sense of urgency and purpose, and not a sense of political career or as a form of national drama. For me, this is a call for duty, of honor. It is a national service, not a joke. It is a serious business. It is about justifying the trust of Nigerians of diverse ethnic and religious orientations who have called on me to avail the nation once again the competencies, discipline, and character I displayed in the past. I'm delighted that there is a growing national consensus that the next president of Nigeria should come from the Southeast. I believe that the people of Southeast owe other Nigerians the reciprocal respect of bringing forth the best to lead. Many Southeasterners and other Nigerians, especially my colleagues in the National Assembly, have asked me to avail the Nigerian nation the characteristics, honest, competent, and disciplined leadership I offered in the Senate. If I am not convinced that I will provide the leadership that can overcome the tough challenges we are faced today, I would not express the intention to be the candidate of my party for the 2023 presidential election. If I am not convinced that I have the template that works, the template that was employed by previous leaders of the successful East Asian countries like South Korea and Japan, to move their countries from bottom to top, from poor to higher income countries, I will not bother to express desire for the presidency. I'm not given to frivolities. I'm not a man driven by my ambition. I'm not a man who joins the bandwagon. I'm a man who is deliberate and resolute. I'm a man who is driven by passion to change things, to institutionalize excellence. That is the mission I set for myself as I decide to contest in the APC 2023 presidential primary. I will count on the support of the media to help articulate the vision of a new leadership that will deepen democracy, defeat insecurity, and entrench a new culture and structure of productivity that will grow our economy, arrest social anomaly, and reinvent nationalism and democratic citizenship, even in the midst of global economic and social crisis. I believe that what one nation has done correctly, another nation can do even better. With good leadership, Nigeria can become a prosperous, peaceful, and stable country. With a transparent, courageous, competent, and trustworthy leadership, we can successfully move millions of our countrymen and women from extreme poverty to high socioeconomic well-being. Today, Nigerians of all ethnic and religious identities, from the south to the north, need a leadership that is tested and trusted. A leadership that is not hypothetical, but practical and verifiable. I'm here to offer that leadership again in 2023. I thank you for listening. Thank you very much. I can take few questions from this because it's detailed enough. It has gone to answer quite a number of these. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, go first.
Good morning, sir.
Okay.
I haven't listened to you. I have two questions.
Please.
Yeah. Firstly, there have been calls that, just like you rightly said, that the presidential ticket should be zoned to the southeast, and there has also been calls that aspirants from the Igbo extractions should meet and endorse, one person because of the population. Who among the people that have come out would you be willing, if the call comes, to endorse? If the call comes. Secondly, I need your reaction on the comments by the human rights lawyer Femi Falana to former president Jonathan, that he, as the former Senate president, that he cannot contest based on the Constitution. How will you react to that, sir?
Can I address that one?
Yes, I have a question. No. Sir, please address the question.
Well, I start from the last one, the last question. That's the one regarding our former president. a very good Lord Jonathan. There have been several fields of thoughts on that. A group that is quoting Falana, senior advocate, is of the view that he should not. That is not consistent with what the Constitution is saying. But some other people read some aspects of it and said that that when the law, which Falana was referring to, when it became an act, that Jonathan had already left the scene, that therefore he cannot do it retroactively. That's another field of thought. But I think, by and large, much would depend on former president himself. If he considers it appropriate and is willing to go through all the hassle, because he gained for himself a modicum of respect for handing over willingly. And for that, some international communities have been inviting him to observe elections because of the way he has carried himself while in office. Now, if he's willing to sacrifice all that and then get into the murky waters of our politics, that's why I said much of it will depend on him. Some aspects of it could be legal, but others will be moral persuasion, moral issue, moral discipline. It's up to him if he has considered it necessary and worthy to subject himself to the barrage of criticisms and the eventual contest that will take place. Then on the other one, the first question is, who? You want me to name somebody? I will not do so. It's not possible now. Because people are still declaring their interests. You should not be surprised to hear other people declare even 2-3 days from now. Even on the last day, some people can still show interest. So if I say I will support some, if it's not me, it could be this person. It may be too early to do that. So I'm not dodging the question, because for me it's not a do or die. But I know I have something to offer. So I hope I've addressed your question. Any other one?
Yes.
Yeah, young lady, go ahead.
Good morning, sir. My name is Mary from Arise TV. My question is just very simple. You are going to be contending with the likes of Oshwajo, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and other big names within the APC. In all sincerity, sir. Okay, let me say this before I just ask you the question. 2 days ago, I was with the Wajuba team, and he also declared and all of that. What do you think your chances are, in clenching this ticket for your party?
Well, you said big names. I don't know how you measure the bigness. I was number 3 in this country. I think it's as big as it gets, having attained that. It wasn't purchased from Wuse Market. And it's not a chieftaincy title that I hold in second highest honor, Grand Commander of Order of the Niger. It's not a chieftaincy title. So I don't know about the bigness. I'm not running on the basis of bigness. And as I said, it's not how long your CV is. It's what you have done in the last high office you held, if any. I cannot specifically say about any person's chances. What entry of in the race of some of us, what it has gone to do is that it's offering a wider option to people. A wider option. For any person who does not have anything to hide. Because when the gong is being played, maybe he's hiding something. So I'm not, I think I have addressed the issue. I'm not worried about business. It is good. Every person who feels to qualify is welcome to bear the rest.
Alright, sir. Salut Momola from the Guardian newspaper. So your party came into power in 2015 with a lot of promises, ranging from growing our economy, tackling the insecurity issues, balancing foreign exchange rate. But a lot of Nigerians said the president has not fulfilled his promise. Rather, things are getting worse. We have seen candidates coming out saying they will build on the legacy of the president. So are you also going to build on these legacies, or you have your own different templates?
I will improve on the legacy.
So is there a legacy?
That's a word. There must be a legacy.
So what is the legacy of what's the administration? Is it the killings in Kaduna, all the kidnaps? What legacy?
I have not finished addressing it.
So what are you doing?
And by the way, you have asked the question before.
My question is related to his.
So you can take it to
My question is related to his.
But have you picked on the word I used?
Yes.
Underline it. Improve. I'm not saying I'm continuing. I will journalists are wonderful. So, I want to put words in don't underline my own word. That's why I had to write something. In fact, I'm still making some corrections. So you don't put me out of that. I don't have to continue.
So Nigerians are very hungry.
Yes.
In the streets, Nigerians are.
They don't go to farm.
So they want to. They'll be looking up to you if you win next year.
Yes.
Not just the ticket if you eventually become our president. They will be looking up to you and they will be asking, how are you going to help us solve our hunger issue and the security, security challenges we are facing? So,
you know, one of the issues that should bother every Nigerian is the idea that we have natural endowment. Our soils are very nice. We can grow almost all types of food in Nigeria. And we are not faced with tsunamis. If we have tsunamis in Nigeria, it's human tsunamis, not climatic type of tsunamis. Our climate is so good. But if our youth, remember why I commented on this, our youth are very, very, very innovative. They can do well if we encourage properly. If we make agriculture to be attractive, not only that we'll be able to feed ourselves, we can afford to export a lot of food. What we call manihot utilissima, that is the botanical name for cassava. It grows well in Nigeria, and there are so many derivatives from that manihot utilissima, like starch and other things. Not only Gary that all of us are familiar with. We make a lot of economic products out of it. And it can also serve as a staple food. So our challenge is to encourage our youth to pursue a career in agriculture. Because our land is fantastically very fertile for the most part. Much of what we eat now tend to come from the north. So many. And yet we say that we used to think that we used to say arid north, that is dry north. But a lot of farming is taking place there. So it's to redirect and make people see reason. I emphasize the word hope again. I said it 3 times. It was deliberate. Many Nigerians are beginning to lose hope in the country. Some think that the country has already failed, it's about to collapse. And unless we be able to instill hope in people, Because hope is what drives a lot of passion. If you have hope that our team is very well trained, the next match will not play like they did last time there, and we lost the chance of going to World Cup. If you have that hope, it will keep you going. So to the issue of hunger, if properly managed, if our priorities are right, we should not be talking of hunger. By now, we should be talking beyond that. This should be taken for granted. Because if you go home and try it from your backyard, plant anything there, you see rains are beginning to fall now. You can see today's morning. You'll be surprised at the harvest you make. But we think the white-collar job is the best. Every person rushes to the town. You can't blame them. There's no light in the rural areas. Even in the township now, you don't have much of light. How much more in rural areas? So it is a question of priority. If we make people to see the need to return to land as agreed, I think it's not just by making use of bow and arrow and machete and all sorts. Modern farming. I'm not saying after you graduate from any institution, then you go home and carry on. That's not the type of agriculture I'm talking about. Mechanized farming. That's modernity. I emphasize it like this. To push the country from the primitive way of doing something to modern things. I'm not saying every person will be a digital. Some of us are still analog, but we can deploy the digital aspect using people like you, people like
Sorry, sir. My name is Michael Angel, and I report for Nigeria News House. Sir, going by the lingering industrial action between the federal government and ASU, if elected president, what will you do differently in the area of education to ensure that we don't have repeated strikes? Then second, in the area of security, if elected president, what are you going to do differently to ensure that Nigeria is secure going forward?
I answered that in this academia. I said in manpower development. No nation can be said to be developed if the citizens are not properly enlightened enough. And democracy, the type we are practicing, we copied from the United States, but we haven't copied the practice. The human development should be number one. You see, education is not even, I think it's a right, it's not a privilege. If our people, if we cannot get sufficiently educated citizens, our democracy may not succeed. Education. I'm not saying every person will go and get a PhD, no. But the basic education. And the incessant strike, when it takes 6 to 7 years for a person to graduate, instead of 3 or 4 years, it does not help us. It doesn't help the country at all. And that is why most people, the slightest chance they have, they will escape. Some perish in the high seas and trying to go for greener pastures, education. So I will emphasize priority. I said it in my paper here about human development, because much of our problem at times it tends to devolve on ignorance. Ignorance breeds suspicion. You suspect every person because you don't know why the person is doing what he's doing. So I'm not too sure that we have laid enough emphasis on education in Nigeria. Because if you check what our professors are making and their counterparts elsewhere, you can see the purpose why people tend to.
Okay, lastly, sir, we are done, but I will not leave here without asking this question, sir.
Mm-hmm. But you say we are done.
Some people in the Southeast, APC, have accused you for the role that you played build up to the APC convention, that you traded the slots, that's National Secretary of the APC, that was supposed to be zoned to the southeast. That they accuse you and they actually, you are not happy with the role that you play for trading that position away from the southeast. Now, allegedly, yes. Now, you just declare for the president, you contest for the office of the president. I want to ask you, how are you going to handle the home front support with this accusation coming from your party? And they said that that position we consider it to be a very strong position that will increase the base of the party in that.
So in addition to his question, follow up. There was also an arrangement that we were actually skimmed out of the position of the Deputy National Chairman South. That is that they went to the Southeast. How true is it?
No, let me start on to this. I voluntarily said, for me now, at my age and the position I've held and my station in life, I wouldn't want something to dampen the level I've reached already. If I cannot add something better, let me remain where I am. What do I mean by this? Most of the people came to me and said, look, why do you have to be a spare tire at this stage, that is being Deputy National Chairman? Why not give chance to people that can make use of it and grow? There was a lot of conviction. Say, go for, you have been number 3, go for number 2 or for number 1. You cannot go for a party. But I wanted to stabilize the party too, because there are things you cannot ask me to do. For instance, throughout the country, there's no governor that I will say, yes, sir. Not one. Both age, qualification, and what I have been. But if I'm there, the people would like me to do certain things, which I will not do. To answer your question, I talked about ignorance. I was a member of the APC Caretaker Committee, Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee. It was not our role to zone anything. I was not in position to zone to myself or to any particular zone anything. We didn't handle it. Was governor's affair. I'm not a governor. I've never tried to be one. So it's just lack of understanding. Is people thought that maybe if Nnamani had asked for secretary, he would have gotten it for the zone. But I didn't ask for it. It's true, I did not ask for it. I didn't have to ask for it. I didn't have the chance of asking for that. It wasn't for me to ask for it. The governors that did the allocation knew what they did. I wasn't part of it. So it's because they don't understand. They assume that since Nnamani is there, if he had asked, we would have gotten secretary. I don't want to be secretary either. Secretary is a full-time job. 8 to 5, or 8 to 11 in the night, or 12, whatever it is. I'm not prepared to do that now. So it's a lack of understanding. Nnamani was not in position to zone anything. He didn't participate in the zoning committee. It was governors, not me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any question?
No, sir.
Let me go and make sure that you get this. 1 second. Okay.
Which one? Which one? Okay, this one.
Just 20 minutes.
Can you call Sam for me? Sam Amadi. No, or Sam, but don't go only have the soft copy. Okay, my Sam. Call him outside then.